In last week's video, I shared with you a new framework of how to become better at making decisions, or really how to get out of that area of being indecisive. Now, in that framework, we use the letters in the word decide to build out that framework. And the C in in the word decide, we said is to confront your fears. Now, if you missed that video, you can check it out up here, or we'll put it down in the description. But today I want to expound on confronting your fears. So I have for you 7 common fears that people have that will keep you in indecision. So let's talk about it. Now, in last week's video, I shared with you how I often struggle with indecision, not just indecision in my career, but also indecision in life, indecision in big things, indecision in small things. Now, I can't speak for everybody, but I do believe one of, if not the most common reason for indecision is fear. And what that means is you could do everything else right, but if you don't ever confront your fear, you are always going to struggle with indecision. And so today we are confronting the fears. We are bringing them to light. What are the things that people fear that cause them to have indecision? And then what can we really do about it? Now, the first fear on our list that keeps people in this area of indecision is really, I think, the one that I struggled with the most, and that is the fear of failure. The fear of what if I step out and I make this decision and it's the wrong decision and I fall on my face. That is, I think, one of the biggest fears people have is what if I fail? Now, I think one of the most important steps in confronting this fear of failure is really to reframe what it means to fail. You know, I think subconsciously most people have this thought that if I fail, then it means I am a failure. And so what happens is if you have this thought, whether it's conscious or unconscious, you have this belief that if I fail in a thing, which is just an action, it's just you did it or you didn't, you missed it or you made it. But if you then convert the failing action into I am a failure, what happens is now you take that failure identity. And this, I think, is one of the biggest problems. Just because you fail in a thing, just because you didn't reach the mark you wanted, you didn't get the prize, does not make you a failure. And if you don't really separate those things in your mind, you're always going to struggle with the fear of failure because you're always going to take it personally. It's going to be part of your identity. What we have to do is we have to begin to understand if I miss it, it doesn't make me a failure. It doesn't become a part of my identity. Missing it is a part of the learning process. There is no successful person out there who has not missed it, who has not missed the mark, and had to learn from that mistake to go to the next level. So now maybe one of the things you need to do if you really struggle with this fear of failure is you need to change your vocabulary. I've said it before, I think vocabulary is such a powerful force in our life. And because the word fail has such a strong connection with I am a failure, don't call it a fail. I'll just say I missed it. Just said I learned a new thing. Just said I make progress. Whatever you have to do to change that vocabulary so that it doesn't connect to you being a failure is going to be one of the strongest ways that you can confront this fear. But you are going to have to confront this fear of failure because if you continue to have this fear or any of the other fears that we're looking at in this video, you're never going to step out. You're never going to try the thing that will bring you to your dream, your vision, your goal. You have to confront the fear if you're going to become better at making decisions. Now, the second common fear that often keeps people in indecision is the fear of loss. Now, the fear of loss could be if I make this wrong decision, it could cost me time, it could cost me money. But it also includes what else am I missing out on? You know, one of the areas that I struggle with the most in indecision where the fear of loss is concerned is when I'm buying electronics. If I need a new computer or if I need a camera. And the reason that I struggle with this is because I know just around the corner, there's going to be a new computer. Just around the corner, there's going to be a new announcement in the camera. And so often when I'm trying to say, okay, I need a new laptop right now, in my mind, I know within the next 6 months, there's going to be something new. And that fear of loss of if I make a decision now, then what will I miss out on? Maybe if I just wait just till the next announcement, then maybe there's something brand new or something really, really good in that next computer that I'm going to miss out on. And see, one of the things I've had to learn where electronics is concerned is there's always going to be a new thing. And if you hold off making a decision now because a new thing is down the road, you will never make a decision. And so you're just going to have to understand that every decision you make, there is a trade-off. Every decision you make, if you pick option A, you'll most likely can't have option B. And that's just a part of life. That's just a part of the decision-making process. And we have to become comfortable with that. But we also have to come to grips with the fact that indecision is not saving you from loss. Indecision is guaranteeing loss. When you don't decide, there are opportunity costs for not deciding. It's not saving you from missing out on something. It guarantees you're losing time, and it guarantees you're losing peace of mind by staying in that area of indecision. And so you just have to understand, yes, there will be trade-offs. But if the thing that I'm deciding fully meets my needs now, well, then I don't have to worry about the other thing I'm not getting. This is what I need, and I can make the decision now. The third common fear that often keeps people in indecision is the fear of regret. The fear that if I make this decision, then next month, next year, 5 years from now, I'll look back and I'll regret the decision I made. It's the fear of looking back and thinking, I know I should have made a different decision. And one of the things we have to understand here is that regret does not come from a wrong decision. Regret comes when you continue to think about your decision and you continue to analyze your decision back then from your position now. What you need to be able to do is you need to be able to tell yourself that at the moment I made the decision, with the situation I was in, the criteria I had, the things that I needed, I made the right decision for myself at that time. Now, next year, your situation may change. Next year, you may say, if I had to make that same decision now, I would make a different decision. But that doesn't mean the decision you made back then was a wrong decision. And really what you have to ask yourself is, what will I regret more? Will I regret making a wrong decision, or will I regret not making any decision at all, not making any movement, not moving forward, and staying stuck the rest of my life because I was afraid that I might regret the decision I made? The number 4 common fear that keeps people in indecision is the fear of judgment, the fear of what other people might think. Now, so often, this fear really comes down to a pride issue. This fear really comes down to what will people think of me if I make this decision? But if you allow the fear of judgment, the fear of what other people would think, your pride being hurt, you've already made the wrong decision. You've already made the mistake. Because if you allow other people's opinions of you to matter that much, you will always stay in bondage. You will always be directed or guided by other people's opinions. Fear of judgment is simply you having to learn that you are responsible for your own life. You are the captain of your ship. You are the only one that can make a decision that is right for you. Now, when it comes to being married, you and your spouse are one. You have to make that decision together, but you are still in control of your life, and nobody else's decision should be guiding what is right for you, and therefore what they think about your decision should not matter. The 5th common fear that keeps people in indecision is the fear of responsibility. It's the fear that if I make this decision, I have more responsibility that I need to take on. This fear of responsibility often is a mixture of fear of failure and fear of other people's opinions, a fear of judgment. Because once you've taken responsibility, now people are looking at you. Now people are saying, okay, what are we going to do in this situation? Now, there's a couple things we can do where the fear of responsibility is concerned. Is number 1, you have to be able to convince yourself that if you're in a situation where you have the ability to make a decision that gives you more responsibility, it's because you're ready for that responsibility. And so fear of responsibility is a very real thing, but we also have to understand if we don't make the decision because we don't want the responsibility, what else are we missing out on? If you make the decision and you take on the responsibility, what else do you gain? Do you gain that better position to help your company? Do you get the pay raise? And what else are you missing out on if you don't take this? And really, you should be focusing on what you're getting, not the responsibility you're going to have to to take on, because taking on responsibility is just a way of life. And if you're going to be fearful of every single responsibility, you're never going to grow. You're never going to develop. Responsibility is part of living the more intentional life. Now, the number 6 common fear that keeps people in indecision is the fear of the unknown. Now, this is another big one for me. When I am looking at a decision and I can't look down into the future and at least in my mind picture what the outcome of that decision will be, if it's not a clear path from where I am to where I want to go, that often has kept me in that place of indecision, because I just don't know. And so we just have to understand that if you're going through the right processes, you're going through the steps of making right decisions, you're mitigating risks and analyzing risks. You just have to understand that even though I can't see what's coming up, I've positioned myself to make the best decision so that the probability of success is high, even if I don't know what that success looks like. But it's that fear of the empty box. It's that fear of that black hole you're looking at that I can't see where I'm going, causes the trepidation. Now, sometimes if you can't see where you're going, you need to slow down a little bit. You need to walk a little slower. I'm taking a little bit more caution in the step, but it doesn't mean I don't take the step. It doesn't mean I don't move forward just because I can't see. And so this fear of failure really is mitigated by proper preparation and the proper pace of moving forward in your decision. Then the 7th common fear that I think keeps a lot of people in indecision is the fear of success, or you could also call it the fear of change. It is the fear of, if I make this decision, what does my life look like? How is it different? How does it change? And that change that comes with the success is really what the fear is. The change is, I'm comfortable where I am right now. I'm in homeostasis. I feel good where I'm at right now. Even if I have problems, they're problems I know how to live with, problems I know how to deal with. Now, this again is another big one for me. I really do not like change. I am a very stable person, and I've had to learn and recognize that change is not bad. Change is uncomfortable. Change is more uncomfortable for some people than others, but change is not always bad. But this fear of success is the fear of, what will I have to change? What will my life look like? What will be different? What new things will I have to learn? What new habits or practices will I have to form? So what you have to recognize is this fear of success is the fear of change, but what you have to understand is, without change, there is no growth. Without change, there is no forward movement. Without change, you cannot become the best possible version of yourself. But we have to become okay with change. But I finally came to the recognition, if I don't change, there is no growth. If I don't change, there's no change. I have to change before anything else around me changes. So these are the 7 common fears that people have that often keep them in indecision. Fear of failure, fear of loss, fear of regret, fear of judgment, fear of responsibility, fear of the unknown, and fear of success, or the fear of change. If you are struggling with any of these areas, you have to confront the fear. You have to be able to look at it, name it, reframe it, understand that the fear that is holding you in decision is worse than making the decision and even making the wrong decision. Making decisions is a vital part of living the more intentional life. Now, if you want to learn more about what it means to live the more intentional life, you can check out this playlist here. But until I see you again, go out and live that more intentional life.